Hey, I'm Supats, lifelong solopreneur. Now living my life with only one passion to help solopreneurs to launch their digital products on fast track so that they can be profitable as fast as within 1 week, and they want to scale, they can join the membership. And as a bonus, I show them how they can sell their digital products all over the world using affiliates. Without further delay, let's get started. Welcome to New Beginning Inspiration for You podcast. And as our promise, we have a special guest today. A special guest today you will totally appreciate today because I work with lots of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business owners, and they are really passionate about their offers, about their creations, everything. But when it comes to sales and marketing, most of them just freeze. They say, "Oh, I want to have business, but I don't want to do any sales." Somehow people are petrified. I just don't understand. Means even I had that phobia, no doubt about it. I'm still overcoming it. And 80% of business is sales and marketing, and people don't want to do it. But hey, from today onwards, that fear is gone because we have someone who is really expert in the sales game, Tim Barry, and he is going to change the trajectory of your business. The fear will be gone. And without me going and telling more and more about him, let me invite him. Tim, you are welcome to New Beginning Inspiration for You podcast, and we want to know more about your process. We want to know more about your offers. We want to know about your story. How did you get started into this business? Because it looks so scary for everyone, but it looks like you are enjoying. So we want to know how someone can enjoy the sales process. So yeah, let's
Well,
get started. Yeah, we want
thank
to know
you
more.
so much for hosting me and having me on your show. I'm a fan of yours and I'm excited to be able to participate and add some value. But the
Thank you.
I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. I'm celebrating my 42nd year of being self-employed.
Oh wow, you look quite young. Wow,
Thank you.
great
Yeah,
job.
I started my first company when I was 14 years old, and it was born out of necessity. I was young and idealistic, and I was probably, frankly, even a little bit greedy in that I wanted to make some money. I wanted to have some economic freedom, and I was turned down for a job that I applied for at the local grocery store because I was, well, too young because I was 14 years old. And when I was 14, I probably looked like I was 10. So there's no way I was going to be able to fool anybody. And as a result, I decided I was going to figure something else out. And so I started my first company where I was cleaning houses for wealthy people on the rich side of town. And I parlayed that into something material that I ended up employing a couple dozen people that I knew and was friends with, and ended up paying my way through private high school and then private college as well. So that was the beginning of the launch, and so I've spent the last 42 years growing, scaling my own businesses, but most importantly, in the last 15, I've been helping other business owners figure out how to do the same.
Yeah, that's really great to know. So, who is your ideal customer? Because you said you help, so I want to know more.
Yeah, I'm typically working with presidents, CEOs, and business owners in the B2B space that own companies that do between 2 and $50 million in revenue. I do B2C sales because I've got quite an extensive history with the residential and light commercial construction area. I owned several companies in that space and scaled those to pretty nice success. And so I've got a sweet spot for that as well. My ideal client profile is it's industry agnostic. It's a generic, there is not a spot whether it's IT or financial services or professional services, that I haven't trained salespeople in. So I'm quite flexible and diverse in speaking those different languages.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because sales strategies, marketing strategies, yeah, those are actually applicable for any kind of business because finally psychology behind it, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead. I'm
what all
sorry.
no, so what are the challenges you face? Because the business doesn't seem to be that simple and easy. So we want to know what are the challenges you faced and how you overcame them.
Yeah. In the sales training business, I have a joke, and I say it tongue in cheek, but in the sales training space, there are what 7.5 billion people in the world, and my joke is that 6.5 billion of them are sales trainers, and and that's the same attitude of heart, the same underpinning of attitude that I teach salespeople. Like there's very few times when you're going to bring something that's so revolutionary to the marketplace that it in of itself will sell itself. Therefore, we've got to distinguish ourselves. So the real challenges has been to sell you, the salesperson, not your company or your industry or your product or your service or whatever that is. And the natural tendency from human psychology is that salespeople want to talk about themselves, right? And so overcoming that, helping people overcome that has been a challenge because again, the natural tendency is to glorify and start bragging on yourself, and that can't be the case because you'll break trust and create all kinds of chaos in the sales process.
So, yeah, it's a great way to overcome the challenges. But also, as a human being, we tend to do lots of mistakes too. And we want to learn from other people's mistakes. So, my audience always wants to know what mistakes you did and what did you learn from those
Yeah,
mistakes?
it's a great question. I've owned six. I've founded and owned six businesses, and five of them were successful. One I actually took into bankruptcy. And the interesting
Huh.
thing about this is most of the important lessons that I've learned in my career with owning six companies came from the one that didn't work. And that almost
Yeah.
defies logic, but I think the biggest lessons in that failure is there are a couple of one, failure is the mechanism by which all learning occurs. And I think that we have a natural tendency to abhor, or we assign negative values to failure, but all learning only happens through failure. And so being able to be reflective and not take the failure as a hit to your identity is important. I think the second biggest lesson in that is that you've got to be focused in your mission and in your vision. And in that particular, in the business that I ran that failed, my goal was to be everything to everyone. I wanted to be like a Swiss Army knife to the marketplace that I was hunting. And that was a mistake because it ended up being, an expert of none. I was a master of nothing, but I had a shallow understanding of a bunch of different things. And that does not work when you're trying to scale.
Yeah, so jack of all trades and master of none, that doesn't work. And that is what I keep on telling entrepreneurs all the time. Have one core offer at a time. Once that offer is on cruise control, I know you are multi passionate, you want to do a lot of things. Once that offer is on cruise control, you are making money while you sleep, then you can focus something somewhere else. Because as a magnifying glass, if you put it on paper and if you keep on distracting here, there, you are just going to warm the paper. But if you focus, you can burn the paper. And that's really, And another thing I really liked what you said, that you failed in one business, but that doesn't mean you are a failure. That one particular way didn't work.
Right.
You don't put that label on yourself that you are a failure. No, that one way didn't work. So avoid that way or learn something from that and move
Yeah.
on. Yeah, that's a really great lesson.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
The mindset. I read a book a long time ago by an author named John C. Maxwell. And he wrote a
Oh,
book.
yeah.
Well, you know where I'm going. He wrote the book Failing Forward, and that's where I picked that up because I grew up in this spot where I felt like I needed to be perfect at all times. And there's two parts. There is no such thing as perfection. The second part
Mm-hmm.
is that, again, I go back to all learning only happens through failure. Even if you got it right on the first try, you can't duplicate it because you don't know how you accomplish that. And so the
Yeah.
goal is not, of course, to fail all the time, but when we try new things, we're bound to fail, and that's just part of the human development. So embrace it as opposed to abhor it.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. And as a human being, you will go into valley, and valley you will learn, and then you will climb. But as a living human being, it's always better to have this kind of curve, because if your line is straight, your doctor is going to declare
Yeah.
you dead. So it's going to happen this way, no doubt about it. And second thing, I like what you said about the perfect. You cannot be perfect as a living human being. You can never be perfect. My mentor always tells me the day you become perfect, God will call you. Because as a human being, you are never going to be perfect. But yeah, but you learn from your mistakes. Don't repeat the same mistakes again and move on. And as far as you are better today than yesterday, everything is fine. And people are also not looking perfection from you. People are looking for authentic connection. People are looking for your genuine interest. So that's what matters. Surely,
You hit the
absolutely right.
nail right in the head. They're looking for authentic connection. That's what they're looking for. And there's lots of
Yeah.
grace and forgiveness in communicating with other people. Well, when there is that, then you can really shine, and that's the whole point of in sales. Sales is nothing more than human connection, because we buy
Mm-hmm.
from people that we trust, and we buy from people that
Mm-hmm.
are like us. And so if you're in sales, the object is obviously to be your genuine self, and it's to listen in order to make your prospect feel both heard and understood. And we've all been in conversations where we were speaking and sharing our feelings, and the other person, you could just tell that the other person they were just listening because they were chomping at the bit to answer, right? They weren't really listening to you. They were listening only enough to respond, and that's not the way that we sell. A true professional salesperson is as good at listening and active listening than they are as with speaking.
So my next question for you might be, I cannot say it kind of hard, because what I say, we want to know what is the best sales and marketing strategy for your business. But you are into sales training, so maybe you can list some more. I cannot ask you just one, but which are the strategies which are working really well
Yeah,
for you?
it's for me. It's simple. In terms of being having an effective sales and marketing process, you've got to be able to build trust with your prospect. That's the number one piece, because we know that people are never going to buy from people that they don't trust, right? Unless there's no other option. And there are times when there is no other option. You have to buy from this person. But when you're talking about B2B sales in services or something that's more than just transactional commodity, you need trust. That's the first one and most important thing. So whatever methodology that you do use, trust is number one, and you've got to maintain that throughout the entire sales process. The second piece to an effective and efficient sales process is to gain equal business stature with your prospects. What we know is most of the time, the salesperson feels like they're sitting in a little kid's seat at a parent-teacher conference, right? The teacher is in the big giant desk, in the front of the classroom, and then the parent sits in the little kid desk, and that's the dynamic that most salespeople pretend that they're in when they're dealing with prospects. But gaining equal business stature is imperative, and the way we do that is by mutually agreeing to an agenda about what you're going to talk about in your meeting in the first place. And what happens when you do that is it takes all the pressure off of both the salesperson and the prospect. And that's how you gain equal business stature. The third is then you've got to qualify your prospect or disqualify them. And you do that through having a good pain conversation and understanding it's like being going into the ER. The nurses that attend to you in an ER are asking you a million questions because they're trying to triage what the root cause of the problem that you came in with actually is, right? And so in sales, we've got to do that and suspend our desire to start presenting right away. So.
Yeah, that's a great insight. Thank you. Really appreciate. And most entrepreneurs I work with, they quit 40 hours of job, start their business, end up working 80 hours in their business. So, do you have any magic pill for them to have work-life balance?
Yeah, I do, and I have been guilty of not having work-life balance in my career, and it's been the cost is extremely high, and so a commitment to the most important activities in building your business needs to be made, but you got to do it in your Outlook calendar, your Google calendar. There has to be a time spread out in your workday dedicated only to prospecting, right? And so the thing I teach salespeople is that 60% of the time that is on the white space on your Outlook calendar has to be spent in hunting for new business. That's the number one piece. The other 40% you can use for all the other stuff that you need to do, returning emails, answering calls, having meetings. You can do all that other stuff in the other 40% of the time, but it really starts with a strategic commitment to make sure that when it's non-work hours, when it's time to be done, that you're actually done. And as an entrepreneur, that can be very difficult because we get excited if there is a lot of momentum going during the workday and we've got a big proposal that we need to get in the hands of the prospects. We'll want to do that until 10 o'clock at night to just get it over. And the cost of that, the hidden cost of that is that your life is passing by really quickly. And if you continue to do that, is there a time to do that once in a while? Yeah, I suppose there might be, but we entrepreneurs tend to rabbit hole. And once we're in a routine, we stay in that routine and it's terrible. So I guess the answer to your question is it's a willful choice to not have work-life balance. And it's also a willful choice to have it. And therefore you've got to it depends on how committed you are to your personal health, your family, your spouse, and you've got to make that choice. There's some point you got to stop picking up that phone and looking at it.
Oh, you are absolutely right. And so there is a story like two woodcutters and one who keeps on taking regular breaks and refreshes and sharpens the axe, cuts more wood, and it's very hard to understand. But hey, but that is the theory that works. Thank you. So if you start now your business from scratch, what different you will do?
I think you've got to have a good idea and you have to begin to build a brand. The idea that you're going to wave some magic wand, and all of a sudden your checking account is going to have six figures in it, and business glory is going to fall upon you is a mistake. Starting a business from scratch is very difficult if you don't have a plan. So the very first thing that I would recommend for young solopreneurs is sit down and write out your short, medium, and long-term goals, and make sure you're writing goals down for revenues. What sales are you looking for? What services? Who are you going to hunt? Build your ideal client profile. Make sure that you've got a good sales process in plan. Begin branding, and branding is different from sales, which is also different from marketing, which is different from advertising and public relations. But the messaging, for example, it has to all be the same. You can't say something different in your sales process than you would in your branding videos that you post on LinkedIn, because if you do, you're giving your prospects the opportunity for doubt, and that's not what we're looking for. So for the solopreneur, you've got to, it's like spinning the proverbial plates, right, at a circus. You got to spin 10 different plates, but I would pile a vast majority of my energy into developing revenue streams and sales, and you can bring in support and help in a multitude of different ways once you've got some sales going.
This is so true and so important, because I work with entrepreneurs, and my first question for them is, what's your revenue generating offer? And they look at me as if they look blank, as if I'm asking something really weird question. I say, you are in the business, this is not hobby, so that should be your first concern. And you addressed it so well. It's really means so important. Totally appreciate your insight. So do you have any free resource or free tool or any free advice for our audience so that they can scale their business with
Yeah,
ease?
I think it's fairly simple. You've got to build a vision for what you're looking for. And what I mean by vision is you've got to write down exactly what is going to make you famous, right? And you've got to think that. You've got to paint that picture in your mind's eye. How are you going to be famous, right? Whether that's sales training or whether that's IT consulting or what, it doesn't matter. What are you going to be famous for? And then write down that vision, and then begin building those goals from there. And then you have to manifest it. It starts in sales. It's 100%, because you can have the greatest app, you can have unbelievable technology, you can have this great ideas, but if you can't sell it to anybody, if you can't cash flow that out with a predictable and regular sales cycle, then you're dead. You can have engineers, and you can have accountants and finance people and you got to have everybody working for you, but if there's no revenue coming in the door, you're going to run out of runway real quick. And so my first and highest priority, and this is not just because I'm in sales training, this is like a universal law. If you don't have sales, you're out of business pretty quick. And so that's my advice and coaching for young solopreneurs would be 100% get into good B2B networking groups. Make sure that you're identifying your referral partners, and then do a good job of referring them to your network. Be active on LinkedIn and social media to brand yourself and make sure that the internet ethos sees you and hears you, and don't worry about being perfect or even great. Just be out there, because we live in this weird voyeuristic peeping Tom world where they might never talk to you, but they're going to be watching what you're saying and what you're doing, and that's part of that branding piece.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So, see, your business generating revenue, it's not just for your family. There are so many other people, their families are dependent on you. So, it's your responsibility to feed them also. So, means it is not a selfish act at all. And unless there is some resource exchange, I really feel people don't value, because that was my passion. Okay, I wanted to give all the information for free, because I thought entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, they will get head start if I give the information free. But then what was happening, when they get free information, they put it on shelf. They say, I will look at it later. But if there is some energy exchange, and higher the exchange, more attention, and the more attention, then more focus and more transformation. So that is the equation, and so there is nothing wrong, and that's the perfect way. You're absolutely right.
Yes,
So I have one question for you. What is the one question I should have asked you but I did not?
that's a great question. I love that one. Um, I think maybe a good question to ask me would be what kind of energy and what kind of routine do you maintain as a solopreneur to continue to scale? I think that would be a good.
Yeah, that will be great. I would like to know. Yeah, answer for that.
For me, I'm a creature of habit, and I am a firm believer that your actions drive your behavior. Your behavior drives your attitude. And I'll give you the example of this. When you're trying to get when you're trying to exercise in the beginning, you don't really want to do it because you don't want to wake up early to do it. You're like, no thanks, right? But when you do it, even when you don't want to, your attitude is saying no, go back to bed. But when you do it, when you're completed with it, by the time you're done, you're like, oh, it feels so good, right? And your technique gets better. So maybe in the beginning, like think about roller skating, right? Maybe you're the most
Mm-hmm.
awkward person on, me, and you
Oh,
just
yeah.
immediately fall down. But if you get out of bed and you go and you roller skate, uh, when you're done with roller skating, even if you're falling and practicing, you're having a good time, and by the time you're done, the endorphins are running through your veins, and you're better off for it. Your technique also gets better in the process, and it's the same thing with being a business owner. Get out of bed and execute your routine. That should include it should include professional development, reading, learning, training, and it should 60% of your day should be involved in prospecting for new business. You should be making great connections with peers and networking groups and people that'll help you grow. And then again, always be looking for new ways to add value. And when you do those, you will get the proverbial wheels of the airplane off the tarmac quicker.
I totally agree with you, because entrepreneurship, it is the best self-help program. So the more you develop yourself, the more you can help your people. That's absolutely right. And routine is so important. Once it is part of your habit and routine, things totally change. See, I was injured, and I'm just means giving you example of what you said, and it's so true. And doctor told me to walk like couple of hours every day, and that was like a impossible task for me. And they said, okay, if you don't have time to go for a walk, you can just go on treadmill. And I hated treadmill from the bottom of my heart. I would go to gym and I would never go to treadmill. I said, if I want to go to treadmill, instead of going to treadmill, I'll find a lake and I'll go around to a lake. I will never go to treadmill. So what my daughter did, she said, Mummy, you are doing business, you have meetings, you have presentations. Why don't you just walk on treadmill during your presentations? And initially that was so weird. I said, no, 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 this is not professional at all. how can I do? People won't like it. It is not professional. She said, Mommy, take other people's permission. If they say no, then don't do it, but just try. And it worked like a charm. Means no, my presentations don't start without treadmill. It's not like that I have a really great speed going on, but at least at the end of the day I have like a couple of hours of walk, which means I'm incorporating into my business. It became a routine. And now it is my brand, because now whenever I go live on social media, people say, oh, that's the lady who gives presentations on treadmill. So it's, I was just coming up with excuses, but hey, everything worked really well. And it, as far as it is part of routine, perfectly
I
fine.
love it.
So I, thank you. So I want to ask you, where can people find you? What are your offers? And how can you help them?
So for your guests, what I will do is I will open it up for a free 30-minute consultation, coaching, one-on-one coaching consultation. I don't offer that to everybody, but I will do it for the listeners to your show. And there's a large value in that. My coaching.
No, that is really generous of you, because I know one-on-one consultation, because I personally have paid $600 for one-on-one
Yeah,
calls. Means I have paid and I have been part of that program. So I have, for 3 calls I have paid
yeah.
$1,800, and also I totally understand you.
So
That's very generous of you.
I'll
Thank you.
offer
Sorry to interrupt
the
you.
free 30-minute consultation. You can find me on LinkedIn if you go at Tim Barry, Barry, executive coach, all one word. So search Tim Barry, executive coach, and you'll see my picture pop up, and that's me. And then you can get a hold of me through DMing and messaging.
Okay, sure. Thank you. I really appreciate. And thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for, yeah, coming on the podcast and blessing our community. Our community is our family, and yeah, people are always willing to learn more about sales training, sales psychology. So we really appreciate. Thank you, and keep up the great work.
Thank you
Totally
so much.
appreciate
You
it.
were a
Thank you.
gracious host. It was so much fun, and I appreciate you giving me your amazing platform. And anytime you want to do this, I'll love to be a resource for you. So thank you so much.
Shanku, I would really like to collaborate with you, because most people, they have challenges regarding sales, and I don't have any particular training regarding the sales, so surely I would love to
Absolutely
collaborate with you. Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Success stories from busy professionals just like you. As a full-time project manager and dad of 2, I was skeptical about fitting another business opportunity into my packed schedule. But this system was different. The ready-made products meant I didn't have to create content from scratch. And the step-by-step implementation meant I could make progress in 30-minute chunks after the kids went to bed. I launched my first digital course in 3 weeks of evenings and weekends, and made my first sales within a month. This is the first program that worked with my real life. James T., project manager and side hustle entrepreneur.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We are blessed to have you as part of our community, and whatever way we can help you, serve you, let us know. Please subscribe and let us know how we can help you, what resources you want. We have lots of free resources and also free collaboration joint venture groups you can join and explode your business, because most solopreneurs quit their business before they launch their first products, and I don't want that to happen to you. And that's why we have special launch service where you can monetize your digitals and become profitable as fast as within 7 days. And if you want to scale your business, join our membership New Beginning Success Collaboration, where we'll provide you MRR and PLR products and collaborations so that you can scale your business with ease and effortlessly and Hey, if you want to sell your digitals all over the world, yes, we will provide you affiliates. More than 200 countries. So everything is possible. Just live your dream, follow your dream, and whichever way we can help you, do let us know. Thank you and God bless you.